So I want to know, have you ever seen the man in black? I'm not talking about Johnny Cash, okay? I'm talking about the Hat Man, because he's going to show up again in these true ghost stories that I'm going to bring you tonight. Well, hello, my spooky friends and wonderful wild weirdos. Me and Scully are going to be telling some true ghost stories that you sent in. If you are new to this channel, this is Avalon Cottage, my own haunted home, and I'm Silky, and I tell true ghost stories submitted by you. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to make this one shorter because Scully is hungry. He has a craving for bang bang chicken. So, I've never made it before. We'll see how this recipe turns out. But what you going to do? He's not going to shut up until I start. So, let's dive on in. This first one was submitted by Luann Riffle, 616. My aunt passed away. Her favorite flower, I was told at the funeral, was a rose. The night before we drove to a different state for the funeral, I had a dream that my aunt was showing me a white coffin with a red rose on it. When we went to the cemetery, there was a white marble type coffin and a red rose embossed on the side front of the coffin. I think my aunt visited me the night before and left that memory. She would have been very happy with what was chosen for her eternal resting place. I agree. I think she did come to visit you in a dream and just kind of let you know. Probably, it wasn't probably so much about the casket and stuff, but to let you know that she was okay. And that was just a confirmation because you would have to see something in the physical that matched your dream to let you know. Does that make sense? Like, am I just talking nonsense? Or uh, anyway, I know what I mean. And I hope you do too. But yeah, I think that's what that was. And I think that is a cool story. Thank you so much. Okay, this one is by Enzia. Is it Enzia Gold? My best friend's mama has an old Victorian house. I was staying the night, and while taking a shower, I heard someone come in. I thought to myself, I locked the door, didn't I? So I poked my head out to check. Seeing the door was locked, all of a sudden it got ice cold. Okay, this is where I am going to start having a problem, okay? Probably when I hear somebody open the door, but whatever. I quickly rinsed the shampoo out of my hair, grabbed the towel, and ran out. Girl, I get you. The next morning, I woke up to maggots coming up through the carpet. Oh my God. The energy was heavy and depressing. Then I realized I have never seen a bird, squirrel, raccoon, etc. in their yard. I have not been back to that house in years. Oh my God. That is horrifying. Okay. It's bad enough. First of all, I don't want anybody walking in on me when I'm in the shower, most especially a ghost. So y'all need to stop. Stop with your nonsense. But then like you can like it gets ice cold. That's like classic ghost symptoms, right? But the fact that you saw maggots coming up through the floor, that is horrifying. Like that is, and the depression and the heaviness. Oh my God. I don't know what was in that house, but I'm glad you got out and didn't go back. That sounds like some serious kind of manifestation, in my opinion. And that is going to require a lot of work to get those kind of spirits out, if you know what I mean. It's not easy. Ew. Don't you even think, Scully, about coming in on me in the shower. Like, boundaries. Okay, this one is sent in by Debbie Ford 57. Thought I would share this with you. And yes, I do believe loved ones can come to you in your dreams. My mother had 2 incidents happen to her that were eerie and wow at the same time. The first one happened when my grandmother was in the hospital and was dying of cancer. Oh, I'm so sorry. My mom and I were staying in a motel close to the hospital in case she needed to get there fast. One night, my mom woke up and said that my grandmother had just come to her in a dream and kissed her goodbye. Aww. A few minutes later, the office manager came to the door and said there was a call from the hospital. My grandmother had just passed away. The second one, oh wow, I gotta stop there. That is though the sweetest thing, right? To have a dream where she kissed you goodbye. That is precious. Wow. The second one was when my grandfather was in the nursing home several years after my grandmother passed. He was not doing good at all, and we all knew that he was not going to recover. He had cancer also. My mother dreamed that a friend of hers, the apartment manager, came to the door and woke Mom up, knocking on the door. She told Mom that my grandfather had passed away. It was all over. He was at rest now. A few minutes later, my mom was woken up by someone knocking at the door. It was the apartment manager, and she let my mom know that the nursing home had called and Grandpa had just passed away. My great grandmother's deceased husband would come and sit on the corner of the bed and call her name over and over when someone was about to die in the family. Oh my goodness. So far, I have not had anything like that happen to me about someone going to pass or who has passed away. I have some other things that have happened to me that I will share later in another post. Yes, please do. Please do. Wow. I mean, what do you think about that? About having a recurrent when somebody's going to pass, like the grandfather just comes and, he's passed, sits on the bed and keeps calling the name. That, I mean, I guess in one sense, it gives you a heads up, like something's not well with somebody. But at another time, like, I don't know. First of all, I don't want anybody talking to me while I'm sleeping, especially a ghost. But I guess if it's family, maybe you get that sense of comfort. I personally would not appreciate that. And that is probably why my family doesn't come to visit. But yeah, how did I mean, how does it make your family feel? Is it comforting? Is it like, a good heads up? Let me know. And I can't wait to hear your other stories. Thank you so much. This one is sent in by Alpha Flight. My mother-in-law was recently on hooked up on life support. She's better now, recovering, but told me a man dressed in black would come look over her for 20 minutes. She remembers it vividly. Okay, so here is our man in black, but he just came and looked over her and then she got better. So I guess he was just checking her out. You about ready to go? Let me see. Let me check your pulse. I mean, that's horrifying to me. Like, don't be looking at me, hat man, man in black. Don't be hovering over my bed, just waiting to snatch my soul. No, I don't know. There are so many things, so many different cultures, and so many different stories about this hat man that you can't just disregard it. But I am not good with somebody coming and standing over me. Just, like, what? Are you got to watch? You're just waiting for me to pass? Get on out of here. Shoo. My goodness. I just think it's rude. That's just my opinion. Okay, this next one is sent in by Patty Lynn 6425. I don't know if this meant anything or if it was just an equipment glitch, but after my dad passed away, we were sitting with him in the hospital room, and this machine that my dad was no longer hooked up to and was turned off just started beeping on its own. The nurse came in and said, "Why is that going off?" Then he said, "Must be him playing tricks on us." I can't say it was him, but it makes me wonder. Now, what I would say, because I've worked in the hospital, off and on for a long time. If normally a machine can beep if it's low power, like if it's not plugged in and it's turned off, but the power is draining, it will sometimes beep to let you know it's not like a constant, but every once in a while it'll beep and let you know that it's no longer has any battery power either. However, I will say this, if the nurse came in and the nurse would know, that's just like something that happens, okay? And it usually always has a little thing that says low battery. so everybody knows. But there's a certain sound. It's not the same beep as a regular beep on the machine. So if the nurse came in and didn't recognize that beep and didn't see low battery or anything and said, "Oh, it must just be him messing with us," then I would say there's a good chance that you have some kind of weirdness, some kind of spooky in the room. And maybe he was just messing with you or saying goodbye. And I would definitely say if that gives you comfort, then that was probably him. What do y'all think? All right, this one is sent in by Brenda Asher. My dad passed away a couple of years ago, and right after the funeral service, he was cremated. And the next day at my mom's house, my mom had said she saw my dad in the house in the bathroom as if he was getting ready to shave, like he used to do. My mom screamed and she said she saw my dad as to check up on her for the last time. I think that was nice of my dad. I visit his gravesite and I talk to him. I really miss him. I don't know like 100% because none of us know 100%, but was he just doing a routine thing to give her that comfort, make her feel like everything was okay again as he's getting ready to shave and getting ready in the morning? Or was that like an impression? He had done it so long that it kind of plays. I wonder if it ever happened besides that one time. If it didn't happen, except for then I would say he was probably saying goodbye and trying to give her some sense of normalcy. Does that make sense to you? Um, that's just my thought on it. If y'all have a different take on it, then let me know in the comments. Okay, this one is sent in by Daniel Rose 5265. I work in a military base as a janitor. I was vacuuming a room one day and I looked back and saw a ghost looking at me, but he was sitting down. I only saw his head. Oh, wow. Well, Daniel, let me ask you this. Has anyone ever else seen the man, or is there someone that you know of that has departed, or are there stories about ghosts? Or was this just something that you saw, and did you have any feel as to who it was? Did you feel like you might have known him? Or was he, I know when you just see his head, it's hard to say. I mean, look what I'm dealing with. I only know what he tells me. And who knows if that's the truth. But yeah, I think that's very interesting. You probably see and hear a lot of things when you work, especially if you're a janitor and you're there at night. Like I have a lot of stories of people working late and then weird things happening in the building. So you never know. Okay, this one is sent in by, I don't know if this is Ion Skyland or Lon Skyland. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm not great with interpreting the names sometimes. It's like license plates. I can't always read those either. My sister in law was 48 when she passed. She asked to sit up on the side of the bed. She reached her arms up above her head and said, "They are inviting me to come." Well, now I think that is beautiful. I mean, who could turn down an invitation like that either, right? She was awfully young. I don't know what happened, but I'm glad that it sounds like she was getting a heavenly welcome. And I am so glad that you got to witness that. Okay, and here is another one by the same subscriber. My mom was hospitalized following a heart attack. The doctor put in the notes that the night shift reported she said she wanted to go see Jesus and that the angels were in her room. She came home and died 1 week later after being in and out of consciousness and saying that she had seen people who had died before her. Now, y'all that watch this channel and you're listening to the nurse stories, you know that we see this a lot of times. People saying things, having like visions of people who have passed on before and angels singing and all that kind of stuff. And I think it must make it so much easier to let go of the constraints of our physical bodies when we know that we are going somewhere better, right? I think that's a great comfort to the patient and also the family. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. And this one is sent in by Ramona Pinkston. Before my mom passed, She kept asking all of us there to make those three kids stop giggling and settle down. They were getting on her last nerves. Yeah, what is it with these kids? Is it little angels? Are they little ones that are coming and so they're not scary? But a lot of people complain about the kids running up and down the halls in a nursing home or, a hospital. Goodness, giggling, getting on people's nerves. I do not know what these kids are. Hopefully, they're angels and not ghosts, because y'all know if you watch this channel, little kid ghosts, they creep me out. Yeah, big time. Okay, this is a funny story sent in by Samantha the Card Girl. I'm so happy I discovered your channel. I love all these stories, and your commentary is so funny. Thank you so much. My kids don't think I'm funny, and neither did my ex husband, but somebody does. So I love you. A ghost in my house once threw a raw potato across my kitchen. I still wonder, was it a sign for me or were they mad that they can't enjoy food anymore? Wow, I didn't think about that. Now, I love that I have had this sent in by one of my actual subscribers because, like, a couple of years ago, I did ghost stories that I had found in some other group, and it was like, I think it's called Ghosts Living Their Best Lives. And there's one where somebody says a ghost threw a meatball at my head or across the room or something. And I mean, I thought that was the funniest thing ever, but a lot of people didn't appreciate that story or didn't believe it. Like, look, I do because I've seen a whole lot. But you do have to wonder, was that potato like supposed to be aimed at my head? Like, are you angry? I mean, who was it? Did you have somebody pass that you knew, or was this just a random ghost? And yeah, that's a good question. I never thought about it. Are they just mad that they can't eat anymore? I mean, in that case, I could see me doing that. Especially if somebody has like tacos or ribs or something. I mean, I just slap it right off the plate. I'd be so mad I couldn't eat it. So I wonder what that is. Here, I just have food come up missing from time to time. It's weird circumstances. But yeah, good question. But that kind of is the ghost living their best life. I mean, if you can't eat a potato, at least you can sling it at somebody, right? Y'all ghosts be nice out there. I'm just saying. Because one day we're going to die and we're going to be up there with you. And look, we'll know. You threw a potato at me. Now it's time for ghostly revenge. How about that? All right, one more before we go. And I cooked pepper for Scully. This one was sent in by Kristen Oyimbo. Is that right? I'm sorry. I'm Australian. Oh, cool. I love Australia. I mean, I've never been there, but I think it would be fantastic to go. And almost died in 2018 from an oral infection turned sepsis. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's serious. I saw a cancer patient die next to me, and her soul left her body at exactly 2:02 a.m. I looked at the clock to tell the nurses her time of death. While I was in ICU fighting for my life, I saw heaven and what it's like. My grandparents told me it wasn't my time yet and that I couldn't go through the door. All I can say is heaven is very much real and is perfect. Everything glistens and there's no pain, no suffering, and our loved ones are more than okay. Oh, wow. Kristen, if you ever want to share that whole story of, heaven and stuff, I would love to hear it. I love to hear stories about heaven. Like it gives you so much hope and comfort. And I think it's an incredible gift to get to have a glimpse of that. Glad you are okay now. And I've said before, I have never actually seen a soul leave a body. I mean, I've seen people when they pass, but I have never seen it myself. I've always kind of wanted to. Thank you so much for sharing that beautiful story. And that will wrap it up for tonight. I'm going to go cook something, answer my daughter's phone call, and start planning some more stuff for spooky season. So let me know what you want to see. I hope you have a great and wonderful day, night, weekend, weekday, whatever it is, whatever you do, stay spooky. Bye bye.